Live from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
And that's when he looked at her and he's like, hey, you in the dress, you can go.
For the first time, we're hearing about the brief moment of mercy during Sunday's poolside carnage.
That you can either stay here or you can die here.
That survivor helping to paint a more vivid picture of Peter Sellis, the man who shot and killed a woman who simply went to a birthday party.
It was a terrible experience that we went through, but I'm glad that I'm all right. I'm glad that most of my friends are all right.
And new at 6, his daughters take us inside the Sunday breakfast they never thought would be the last with their father.
Here's where everything stands right now. One woman is dead, and we have learned there are now 8 survivors. The latest victim, a female security guard who was shot at but not hit.
The shooter is Peter Sellis. He and his girlfriend broke up in the days before the shooting, and his family says he was distraught over it.
Well, Sellis called her in the middle of the attack to tell her that he had shot 2 people and police were there. Then he started shooting again before police killed him. There's no evidence that race was a factor in the attack.
Police say the victims were targeted simply for being there, and investigators don't believe this was planned.
We have team coverage looking into every angle of this tragedy. First, let's head to 10 News reporter Hannah Mullins.
She's live at Scripps Memorial Hospital in La Jolla. And Hannah, you just spoke with a sailor who helped get people to safety.
She did. She helped get patients to this very hospital, and while most people ran, she stayed right by the gunfire to help people.
This was an act of terror.
Lauren Chapman, who's a Navy sailor, can't shake the horrors of what happened.
We're all sitting at the pool. It's our friend's birthday party.
Haley Thames says the killer sat down and cracked open a beer.
You just hear a pop.
Then one after another as the pool party gave way to a bloodbath. Some dropped to the ground as others started to scatter. But Thames turned around and saw her cousin had taken a bullet to each leg.
I had to go get her because she was still in the pool. And I just look over and he's reloading.
She says amid the chaos and carnage, he kept calm.
That's when the second round of gunshots came out.
Instead of running to save themselves, Thames and Chapman scrambled to save the women he shot. They carried them to safety and flagged down a security guard.
And he's the only one that stopped because I tried to flag down a lot of cars. Cleared everything from the trunk, helped her put her cousin in the car.
When I get the chance to see him, I'm going to give him thanks in person, but that guy saved us a lot of time.
They're calling the security guard a hero. Meanwhile, Thames ran back, hoping to help more people.
They were still on the ground, and now one of our friends are dead.
I dedicate my life serving my country, understanding that my life is on the line when I'm out there, but at no point in time would I think that an act of terror would take place at home in the way that it did.
Now, coming up at 7 o'clock, I'm going to tell you why she seems certain it was a hate crime. We're live in La Jolla. Hannah Mullins, 10 News.
All right, Hannah, Brian Schlonsky here in the 10 News Live Center, and I have some new details just into the 10 News Live Center coming in. We just printed this from San Diego Police. As we had been reporting, as told to us by police, all of the victims were either African-American or Hispanic. Well, they have clarified that after extensive interviews overnight and throughout the day, that one of these victims, one of the female victims, was actually a white woman. So that was something that police had wanted to get out. I also have something new to show you as well. This is a new interview. We talked about this earlier on the Now San Diego. A UC San Diego student who was sitting in a hot tub, frozen, paralyzed with fear, afraid to move as the shooting was going. She heard that gunman talk to people who were trying to help the victims. Take a listen.
And they said, can we at least help our friend? And he said, no. I said, you can either stay and die or you can leave.
So that is the first time we are now hearing someone say that they heard that gunman speak. We'll have more on that interview coming up tonight on 10 News at 11. Back to you.
Chilling. Thank you, Brian. Our team coverage continues with our 10 News reporter, Michael Chen.
He is joining us now live in the newsroom. And Michael, you've discovered that the shooter spent the hours before this attack getting breakfast with his 2 daughters.
Well, that is true, according to a neighbor who talked to the oldest daughter. Hours later, a tragedy they did not see coming.
I just felt sick. I was shocked.
A former neighbor stunned, just like Sellis' family. The image of a man seen apparently reloading a gun during the shooting spree is one loved ones barely recognized. They knew him as Pete, a devoted father, outgoing and fun, but he changed when he was drinking. This is the Poway home where he raised his 2 daughters before he separated from his wife Michelle in 2007.
I remember the girls were, she tried to have the girls be away from him if he was ever drinking.
We're told Sellis had several stints in rehab. Another neighbor talked to Sellis' 18-year-old daughter and relayed her reaction. Horror at what her father did and wrenching loss at losing her dad. Also, this belief, the breakup was not the main cause, rather a history of depression and substance abuse. In his daughter's words, when her father was drinking, he couldn't handle life. Yet the morning of the shooting, no apparent sign of trouble. We're told Sellis had breakfast with both his teenage daughters who noticed nothing unusual. In their words, we had no idea he was so depressed. The family has seen the extremes. Neighbors recalled 2 occasions about a decade ago when police were called for suicide attempts. On one occasion, the attempt left an easement soaked in blood. Still, family and neighbors say Sellis, even when he was drinking, had never made threats or been violent toward other people.
Family, friends, neighbors, to a person tonight say they thought Sellis was never a threat to anyone but himself. We're live in the newsroom. Michael Chen, 10 News.
Clearly simmering on the inside for so long. Thank you, Michael. 10 News reporter Joe Little is live at the La Jolla Crossroads apartment complex where this shooting happened.
And Joe, you just spoke with one mother who said this has changed her outlook on La Jolla forever.
It has, and in fact, she expressed total disbelief for what happened. She lives right above the pool, which Jeff is zooming in on right now. They have security guards out front keeping people from going inside. She lives right above that pool. Now, I spoke to her and a bunch of other people who said something like this just simply does not happen here.
I've heard less than 1 over neighbors about 5 to 6 gunshots. Now people are screaming.
It just was terrible. People were screaming.
6 or 7 ambulances coming your way.
It was terrible. I'm sure it was just not something you want to see.
Irma Telmy's family just got home a few minutes before 6. They live above the main pool at the La Jolla Crossroads.
It's like a little city, you know? There's too many people here.
Her family heard a party down below and took a look from their balcony.
They seem like normal kids having a party.
Now, she'll never feel the same way about her home again.
It's La Jolla, the town where everybody thinks it's safe, right? And this happened, so it makes you think twice about everything.
I've got an RP still on the phone that is down with 3 people down in a grass area.
Just saw blood everywhere, people screaming and running.
Irma clicked these pictures after she felt it was safe to look out over her balcony again.
It just was a nightmare.
Security officer from Allied Universal said he transported these 2 victims to this location.
I feel sorry for those family members that have to go through what they have to go through, because they weren't even I don't know anyone at the pool. I didn't know anyone, but just seeing that, I can't imagine what they're going through.
Now, I was planning to meet Irma back at her apartment later this afternoon, but she called me and said that she couldn't make it because she was taking herself and her children to seek professional therapy to talk it out because they're so traumatized by what happened. Reporting live in La Jolla, Joe Little, 10 News.
We have a clearer idea of this seemingly mundane pool visit that turned into 10 minutes of terror inside the University City complex. Yesterday afternoon, Peter Sellis quietly sat down at an empty lawn chair on the opposite side of the party. He's the red dot, the partygoers green. At one point, witnesses tell us some of the partiers went over to apologize to Sellis for being loud and invite him to join. He declines. They leave. Then he starts shooting. He takes a break to reload. 7 minutes after the first call to 911, officers show up. When Sellis points his gun at them, they shoot him dead.
And you can count on 10 News to keep you updated on this breaking story even when we're off the air. Download our 10 News app to get alerts like the one we sent after our midday show, like this one right here. You can find it for free in the App Store.
A crime alert now. The search is on for the man who terrorized shoppers at a local Walmart today. Police say he walked into the store on Imperial Avenue in Logan Heights at about 12:30. The man walked up to customers, pretended to have a gun, and demanded cash. He took money out of a register and ran away when a clerk called police. No one was hurt.
New at 6, a 2-time Paralympic gold medalist is asking for help tracking down the thief who stole her surfboard in the UTC area. Elena Nichols is the first woman to take gold in both the summer and winter games. She moved to San Diego to train for the U.S. National Adaptive Surfing Championship, but those plans were put on hold when someone stole her custom-built board on Saturday.
I know it looks like a surfboard, but it's actually not something that normally somebody could go and sell at a shop.
Nichols says the board is worth about $3,000 and it will take at least 6 months to get a replacement.
A developing story. We are working to find out how a pair of brush fires ignited today. The first one sparked just feet away from the 15 that was north of Poway Road. Firefighters quickly put it out before the flames could spread or jump the freeway. And up near San Marcos, firefighters put out a fire in the Elfin Forest area. Sky 10 was overhead this afternoon as smoke was billowing from the ground. Crews were able to put out the flames before they spread to a nearby home.